G'day everyone, welcome to Roo Hammer, Season 3, Episode 9. Thank you guys all for joining us, and another episode made possible by our wonderful Patreon subscribers. Your awesome support enables us to upgrade our visual presentation via the restream that you see, and bring you guys all the content and the guests that you all enjoy so much. Hammer, how's things, mate?
Good, mate. How are you?
Yeah,
I just want to, before we move on, just do want to echo your thoughts on our wonderful Patreon subscribers who do allow us to do what we do here every week, which is bring you the best Warriors content on all social media. Mate, yeah, I'm good. How are you been?
Yeah, pretty good, thanks, mate. Yeah, interesting weekend that we just had, the first round of footy. So, plenty to talk about. But, yeah, we had a fantastic day out there at the sunny coast on Saturday. And, result aside, it was just an awesome day for the fans to get amongst it and to chat with a couple of legends.
It sure was, mate. Before we move on, though, and we get into the review, I just want to remind everyone that's watching that you guys can get involved. The reason we do the live show, the show live rather than pre-recorded, is so that you guys can get involved. So please, as we move through the various discussion points throughout the evening, join the conversation. Leave your comments in the comment section, and we'll bring you guys into the conversation. But yes, let's talk about that wonderful fan event that we had on Saturday. Was it Saturday? Yeah, Saturday.
Well, Saturday, yeah. It's all a blur at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, no, like I'll echo those thoughts, what you're saying about the chat. Yeah, we just love to talk footy, so yeah, join the conversation.
Absolutely, yeah. Mate, for us, the day started pretty early. We stop off at the merchandiser, Toria Screen Print, to pick up our merch supplies, and then a road trip up to Sunny Coast for our first Roo Hammer fan event at a place called Your Mate's Brew House at Warana. It was a short walk from there back to the stadium. Mate, what a hidden gem of a play that is.
Great little venue, yeah. Wasn't it? Yeah, you wouldn't know it was there unless you were deliberately looking for it, but fantastic joint, yeah.
It was, mate, yeah. An awesome atmosphere, excellent food. Their beers were excellent. And, thanks for everyone at that fan event. We had about 40 people there, which was a pretty good turnout considering the game was played up at Sunny Coast, and most people would have been coming in from Brizzy or the Gold Coast for that game. And we were really appreciative of the amount of people that did turn up.
Yeah, that's it exactly. I mean, the Sunshine Coast is a little bit more difficult to get to, especially if you're based in Brisbane and the Gold Coast. It's a little bit out of the way, and we didn't quite know what to expect. But the Warriors faithful certainly didn't let us down. Huge thanks to our special guests, Kevin Campion and Steve Price, who attended the event. They were absolute men of the people, weren't they? They were just mingling. They were happy to chat and sign merchandise and pose for photos. It was awesome. It was just awesome to see a couple of club legends just, just willing to have a chat with the fans. And you can see how much everyone appreciated that. You can see the looks on people's faces like, oh, I'm talking to Steve Price, It's a big deal being such a club legend. And the highlight for us was when we did a little Q&A with them, and we presented them with some merch. So a Roo Hammer hat for Campo to cover up all those battle scars, as you said, on the noggin. And we gave Pricey our first ever merch shirt that will be available later for a limited pre-sale, and that is our Halftone Heroes range, honouring the legends that have appeared on the Roo Hammer webcast. And Pricey got a little bit emotional when we presented it to him, and how cool was it, honestly, when he walked through the gate at the stadium and we go, Pricey's wearing the shirt. That was awesome.
There's a photo. I'll find the photo. There we are. That was, mate, for me, that was a surreal feeling, being at a Warriors game with Pricey and the three of us standing there in our T-shirts. Such a fantastic bloke. Spent some time literally talking to everyone that approached him. And how great Joe, what a wonderful person Joe is, Steve's wife, and his sister Petter and his brother-in-law were there with us as well, and a couple of friends of his. And it was, as you said, result aside, it was kind of great that we were able to share an experience like that with Pricey and have them turn up for our event. It was absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Mate, so on off, round one home game taken to Sunshine Coast, which was a confusing venue really for me because, with the Warriors playing out of Redcliffe this year, I thought it would have been ideal for them to have their first home game at Redcliffe. They take a game to Sunny Coast means what? I don't know. The big concern for me going into this game was the cancelled second trial match, which meant we had a couple of guys like Egan, Sean Johnson and Josh Curran all going into the game not having played a trial. I know Joshy Curran did play the All-Stars game, but he hadn't working the combinations with Sean Johnson in game experience. I'm sure they do it at training. And it also meant that we could be heading into the game a little bit underdone, combinations a little bit rusty.
Yeah, exactly. We certainly discussed that leading into the game, how much of a factor that missed trial would be. So a quick recap of the key points of the game, and then we'll get into a discussion on the thoughts and opinions.
Yep.
So the Warriors 16, the Dragons 28. Warriors 16, Watini, Lesniak, Egan and Katoa tries, and Johnson 2 from 3. For the Dragons, Michaeli Ravalawa, what a powerhouse effort, 3 tries. Jack Bird and Moses Mbaye got over the stripe. Lomax 4 from 5. Bird missing with his only shot. The Dragons, they got on the board early with the try to Ravalawa and Bird, and it didn't take long for that, that all familiar sinking feeling to set in, unfortunately. And it was a bit of a lucky try. Dylan Watini-Zelezniak got us on the board into the game where he pounced on his own grubber in the Dragons in goal area, and that was a 19th minute try. After Sloan and Hunt hesitated to knock the ball dead, it kind of reminded me of when we played the Dragons last year and what happened there with Ed Cozy. So that made the score 10 points to 4. And then Sean Johnson put Joshy Curran through a hole near the ruck after Jack Gazewski shot out of the defensive line, and the Warriors lock found Wade Egan in support and showed a clean pair of heels to streak away for a 31st minute try. And that made the score 12-10. And then a 40th minute penalty to Zach Lomax gave the Dragons that 14-10 halftime lead.
Yeah, the Warriors took the ascendancy early in that second half with Curran touchdown a Ben Hunt kick, and he towed the ball ahead. And mate, he was running straight at us at that point. And he was tackled just short of the line. Johnson, magnificent 40-20 to that 49th minute try to Eli Katoa off the back of that. And that 40-20 caught Big Michaeli Ravalawa all ends up, didn't it? Yeah, Johnson put Katoa over for a try with that short pass. And it appeared that he's starting to form a similar combination with the one that he did with Britt Nakora at Cronulla. Ravalawa scored his try in the 52 NRL appearances when he powered over for teammate Marcelo Montoya to claim the lead for the Dragons midway through the second half. But then he spilled that kickoff near his own line. And that was where we really should have really taken control of the game. But we dropped the ball on first tackle there.
Yeah, crucial.
And then, Ravalawa completed his hat in the 68th minute after back-to-back flick passes for Jaden Sewer, and then Zach Max created just enough space for Ravalawa to force his way over in the right corner. Very good at hugging the sideline for a big man, and he's very hard to get into touch.
Impossible to put away one-on-one. He's just an absolute powerhouse, the Fijian Hulk himself.
And then utility Moses Mbaye scored from dummy half to seal the win in the 75th minute. Warriors went close towards the end of the game. Marcelo Montoya bundled into touch just 2 minutes before full time, and Sloan got penalised for coming in contact with Marcelo's head, which I queried whether that should have been a penalty try then, because it was done in the act of scoring. So if he doesn't,
I'd assumed it would be if he doesn't make contact with his head. Yeah, I mean, he was very close to the sideline, and he literally fell over and his arm hit the line. So maybe that was what they were thinking. But I thought a foul in the act of scoring constituted a penalty try. But anyway,
absolutely, yeah. I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah, before we go on, Mark Roberts has just said the Wellington Phoenix football game was at Moreton Daily on the same time as the Warriors, hence why they had to take it elsewhere. Okay, so that explains the Sunshine Coast.
Well, is the Wellington Phoenix playing out of Sunshine Coast here?
They must have been playing the. They might have been playing the. Yeah, they might have been playing the Brisbane Roar. I know the Brisbane Roar play out of Redcliffe, so it could have been that.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Me and Sean went there a couple of years ago, or last year actually, to watch them. So, yeah.
Okay.
Some discussion points. Let's get into some discussion points from the game. Firstly, Chanel at fullback. How did you rate his performance?
He tried hard, but he's just not a fullback. We saw that when they trialled it in the All-Stars game. He had a bit of time at fullback in the All-Stars game, the Multi All-Stars game, and then obviously in there in that trial against Melbourne. Look, he certainly didn't struggle in the high ball situations or positional play or running the ball workload. It was both the ability to find any rhythm chiming in on the attack that was probably most noticeable. He kind of looked a little lost. He didn't know whether he was to put right. He didn't know where he was going to fill in. And at the time, compiling our notes, I kind of suggested where he fits into the 17 now is the question. But we all know, there's been some changes this week, which we'll get to later. And I actually did put that he's best option at 6. So it's great that he's got an opportunity this week. So what did you think of his performance in that?
Look, he'd only had one game. Oh, he played the All-Stars, bit of fullback in the All-Stars game as well, didn't he? So
yeah,
I thought it's a specialist position, and with only say like 1.5 games playing there, he was always going to be up against it. So yes. I don't know whether it was something that they were going to persist with, but obviously with Walshy coming back, it was just purely a stopgap. So I think they were just had their fingers crossed that he'd be able to get the job done. So obviously very mixed. As speaking of mixed, the outside backs, they all had a mixed night. DWZ, Berry, Valea and Montoya. And I think we kind of afterwards found out why with a couple of those guys. A bad thumb injury to DWZ, and Valea had an injury as well. He sustained in the first half. So that obviously contributed to some of the errors out there. At DWZ's hands, he did let him down on a few occasions. One notably, as we touched on before, with the line wide open. But his try was great thinking and vision on the run. He's got a deft little kick, DWZ. We've seen it a couple of times now. He set up a try for Reece Walsh last year with a little kick as well. So
he's a smart player. He's been around for a long, long time. He made his test debuts at a really young age. He's been a leader at the Panthers. He was a leader at the Bulldogs, and I'm pretty sure he's in that leadership group at the Warriors as well. People reporting on how brave he was playing on with a broken thumb. But if it was causing him problems, and it obviously was because he had a game-high drop ball errors, one with the line wide open. If he's replaced and Sirina moves to the centres, it's a different result because he came up with some crucial drop balls at some crucial times, and we keep harping on it, but notice that one with the line wide open after that Ravalawa drop ball where we got the 6 again pretty much inside the Dragons half. If he goes off and we get somebody out there with 10 or 8 good fingers and 2 good thumbs and can catch it, is that a try? Because at that point we were 16-14 up and we were pressuring the Dragons line when he dropped that ball 10 metres out. So we go up at 20-14. Does that change the momentum of the game, and do we go on with it?
It's hard to say, but I think say it goes to 20-14 or even 22-14 and we get that 8-point buffer. But we all know Warriors 8-point leads are back to a 2-point lead within minutes. But it's it's one of those things that you can speculate on, but it does make a big difference if you go from a 2 to an 8-point lead. There was still a fair bit of time, but it was that last 20 minutes where we really kind of to unravel for us, and
Absolutely.
we'll get to that.
Just a couple of comments. Ruben Allen Newman says, I don't understand why DWZ wasn't at fullback and CHT at 6. What is Brown doing there? I think, don't quote me on this, I don't know if there's a reason, but my only way of probably working out what Brown is trying. CHT going to 1 is a straight in-out when Reece Walsh comes back, and there's not too much disruption. Whereas, and then if he's got, I'm pretty sure the DWZ, Valea, Rocco Berry, Montoya, 3/4 combination is what he was planning to go with for a good chunk of this season. Obviously, with changes because 2 of those boys have been injured, but it's easier for him to have DWZ in that spot, and then we don't change anything moving forward over the coming weeks. And that's all I can think is winning for that.
I think that's pretty much spot on. That there's been a lot of talk about building continuity and stability within the side. And, as you said, if you keep DWZ and Valet out there, let them build a combination, give them a game or 2 together rather than, shuffling all around. Because last year we were disrupted by constant changes, those kinds of things. So I think you're pretty close to the mark.
Yeah, Mark Roberts said the same thing, replying to Christian asked why Dallin should have been playing fullback in his opinion. And Mark Roberts has said the same thing. He can understand why, with no second trial and Brown wanting to consolidate those combos. That's probably it. It's probably just to try to limit the amount of disruption they're going to have moving forward. As we all know, it didn't work out that way, and there's been a host of changes coming up for this week, which we'll get to later. Mate, Montoya was the best of the 4 in attack with 105 run meters. But, mate, Ravalawa scoring 3 tries on his wing, and I went back and I watched it, and he was pushed off pretty easily. He comes up this week. He's going to be either marking up Phil Sami or Greg Marzio, and Greg Marzio's, just as big, if not than Michaeli Ravalawa. So Hectic's going to want to be improving his performances in defence, because we say it every year, defence is what wins games, and it was our defence lost us this game because those 3 tries were very crucial. And the 2 young centres in Berry and Vallejo, I thought they tried hard, but they had very limited opportunity with the ball. I'd love to see Rocco Berry with some good early ball. He got some great early ball in Melbourne Storm trial and produced some really great things. So in the gameplay there, set up 2 good tries for Hectic. I think so. So it's going to be interesting to see how Berry goes moving ahead. And Christian's just asked our thoughts on Jesse Arthur's selection. Mate, we'll get to the selection stuff when we go through the team list a little bit later on. Moving on, mate, what did you think of
Cody? A little bit anonymous again. Non-effective in pretty much all aspects of the game this week, which may have been reflected in his axing from the side this week. A really disappointing performance from him, and I'm not sure how many more chances he gets in the 6 before he loses his spot. And was obviously one chance, and a poor game, as I said, led to him being added to the extended bench. Sean had his best kicking game, and that included that huge 70-metre drop kick and the 40-20 that caught Ravalawa out. And he had a hand in all 3 of the tries and played 80 minutes, which was massive from a guy that hadn't played a game of footy since round 19, all the way back in July last year. What'd you make of his effort?
Mate, I thought it was a solid return for Sean, considering how long he had been out. We were kind of caught a little bit off guard, weren't we, when we caught up with the boys after the game, and Jazz was having a bit of a chat to us, and he told us that Sean had done his pec, because there was no indication of it during the game, and he did play out the 80 minutes. But yeah, I thought it was a solid performance from Shawnee, not having, as he said, he hadn't played since July last year. So they had the 1 official try assist, 2 line breaks, 17 tackles, 504 kick meters was a big one for me. His kicking game was pretty well on, and it's a shame that he's decided to take up the position of Mr. Glass in the movies portrayed by Samuel L. Jackson, because I hope this isn't something that's going to happen all season long, where he's like a tampon, where he's in for a week and he's out for 3, or 4. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. But yeah, as I said, I was really impressed with him. The other guy I was impressed with was Fanua Blake. I thought he was the best of our big forwards, leading the way, setting an example for the others to follow. Another massive 151 run meters, 66 post contacts, 3 tackle breaks, 30 tackles is a big one. He got through a fair bit of defence. And Jazz, for me, Jazz gave a fair bit of direction when he came on. He did his roll around the ruck defensively. He's playing with a lot now. And for me, he is a must-have in that 17 each week, especially if Egan isn't going to play the full 80 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Talking about big units, Aaron Panay, he impressed in his first outing for the club, didn't he? And congratulations to him on becoming Warrior 266. With Lodge returning this week in the forward rotation of AFB, Lodge, Afoa and Panay, it could be close to the best in the NRL. By the end of this season, hopefully, it proves to be that. And the big surprise in the forward rotation for me, though, was big Benny Murdoch-Marcelo. He only got 17 minutes, but still managed nearly 50 run meters and 12 tackles in such a short stint there. So, yeah, also included in the extended bench this week.
He was another one that'll get better over time. He had an interrupted preseason with injury, and he did and he benefited. He would have been one of those guys that benefited from that second trial. So it's interesting, though. He's been named on the extended this week. TK says we need another experienced hooker. We do. We certainly do, and that's why I couldn't understand why. When talk was going around of Josh Hodgson wanting out at Canberra, Appy was looking for somewhere to go, and Reid Marnie came onto the market. I didn't know why we weren't looking at some of these guys. I know we've got Otakolo coming through, so it'll be great if he gets a couple of games under his belt for Redcliffe, and then gets his confidence, and then I'm sure we'll see him in the mix at some stage this year as well. And our Taurus player of the match was Joshy Curran with an outstanding performance in the middle.
Unreal.
Had so much opportunities up the middle in his ball playing ability. He set Wade Egan up for his try after a nice hole run, and his charge down early in the second half almost got him a try himself. He's just going strength to strength as a player, and although there's been a lot of hype around a guy that's only played maybe 20 NRL games, the hype is warranted because this guy's all class and can play, and he's the kind of guy we should really be looking to build our team around. What do you reckon?
Yeah, just on Joshy, we were sitting where we could see his parents in the grandstand and seeing his old man sitting there like this, watching him. Every time we looked over and something was going on, he was just like, when he set up the try, we got a bit of a salute as well, which was awesome. Yeah, lovely folks.
Yeah, they are absolutely wonderful people.
We said it before. This guy is a smoky for a New South Wales Blues jersey this year. I think if he keeps up this kind of form, he'll be hard to leave out.
Well, there's a lot of contention around this week too, because he got the 3s in the Dally M's from Dayton on the weekend, and people are saying, how could you give a guy who was in a team that was beaten by 8 points or 12 points or whatever it is, Dally M, but mate, his performance was sensational. And look at the forwards, like for the Dragons, their best player was probably Ravalawa on the wing, and that was only because he scored 3 tries.
Did make a couple of mistakes, so it was actually a mixed game from McKaylee, but 3 tries. I mean, you don't turn that down.
Yep.
One.
Yeah, go on, mate.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed after the game when we caught up with some of the boys, and this was really refreshing actually, was just how pissed off they were when we caught up with them about how they played and how the game went, and they were just generally disappointed in their performance, which was, for me, a really good sign because, often you see players going out laughing and high-fiving and everything after a loss, and it's really not a good look. But every guy that we spoke to after the game was just like genuinely dejected and just super disappointed with the effort. So that was a good sign for me.
Me too, mate.
Keen to make amends.
Yeah, it was. You know, and we spoke to a couple of the boys after the game. We spoke to Jazz, we spoke to Josh, spoke to AFB.
Rocco Berry.
Ewan Aitken when he came out. You know, a few of the boys, they were very, very pissed off. And they know, I mean, it's round one, I know, and you know, titles aren't won in round one, but they know that was a game that we really should have won, and they had the opportunity to win it. And just some fatigue in the back end and some really poor handling let us down towards the end. And not to mention that left edge defence with Ravalava scoring the 3 tries. But, yeah, mate, this guy here, class, sensational game from him weekend.
We've got some game stats there that we can have a look at. Yeah.
We gave our 3-2-1 points for this week. 3 points to Josh for his effort, 2 points to Adam Fanua-Blake leading from the front, and 1 point for Sean Johnson in his return to the Warriors.
Yeah, for our Roo Hammer Player of the Season award.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Only the 2 significant injuries coming out of this game. Sorry, make that 3. The 3 significant injuries coming out of this game. DWZ and his broken thumb, Billy Valea and his MCL, and obviously Sean Johnson with that pectoral injury. The first 2, DWZ and Billy, they'll be out for 6 and 4 weeks respectively. Sean Johnson's injury was reported to be 4 weeks, I believe. So yeah, hopefully he gets back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, you're talking about those game stats, mate. I've just got them up on screen there. So 43% compared to 57%. It's always a game of footy when you don't have the footy, and then only completing at cent, which is very, very poor. And 12 errors. You know, 35 missed tackles. The Dragons beat us in all areas of the stats. You know, they had 35 tackle breaks to our 23, 6 line breaks to our 4. You know, we were forced to make a lot more tackles than what they were. So, yeah, the tail of the tape shows why we lost the game. But
yeah, that's pretty plain to see there.
We did show glimpses of brilliance in our attack, but we need to improve. Where we need to improve is how we react to the momentum shifts and controlling that. The Dragons made very easy meters on our mistakes. We'll have that head down problem after a mistake's made, where we kind of worry about it a bit too much. We need to capitalise on those times where we build pressure and convert those into points, and that's what we're failing to do. Better for the run, I think, with Lodge and Boss back this week. We're more attacking Arsenal going into this game against us. We missed out on our second trial, so let's say that was our second trial, and season starts round 2 for the Warriors this week.
Let's hope so. Let's go around the ground, shall we, and look at some of the other results from round 1. So the season kicked off out there at Penrith on Thursday night, Penrith versus Manly. Panthers 28 tries to Tago, Crichton, Luai, Coruscant, and Martin. Crichton kicking 4 from 5, and Manly, Ethan Bullymore with a try, Ruben Garrick 1 from 1. Season kicked off with 2 of the competition heavyweights from last season going head-to-head. And, mate, Penrith just absolutely picked up where they left off. Even without Nathan Cleary in the side, Manly just couldn't find a way to crack their defence. They were just far too strong. They could have easily been out to a bigger lead, but a couple of disallowed tries to Crichton, pulled back for an obstruction, and Brian To'o's try as well for pulled back for running behind a player, which I thought that one was a little bit stiff. Huge games from Isaiah Yeo. He was ball playing through the middle, which caused the Manly defence a lot of headaches, plenty of offloads. A quiet night for Tommy Turbo, it must be said. We all kind of expected that he would pick up and carry on from last season, but he was kept quiet. The Panthers centres, Crichton and Tago. He looks to be a real find. Isaac Tago, huge threat. He got that coveted centre spot, and he showed some great footwork in his opening try. And Crichton did the same for the second one. Our old mate Sean O'Sullivan did an excellent job deputising for Nathan Cleary, and didn't try to overplay his hand, and he complimented Luai really well. Carl Lawton, unfortunately, he copped a hip to the head. He went off with a HIA, and he'll be ruled out for one match. And Moses Leota was taken off with a possible shoulder injury. And yeah, the game stats tell the story in this one. Penrith just dominant in every aspect of the game. 60-40 possession. It's hard for any team to overcome, especially let alone against this Penrith side. But yeah, it's near impossible to come back with that kind of possession. And the standout performance from me, Dylan Edwards at the back for the Panthers.
Yeah, me too, mate. I thought Dylan Edwards was great at the back. Never really rated him as a one of those fullbacks that you can build a team around. But his 344 run meter is massive, 31 runs.
Huge.
Penrith for me, like they got smacked in that last trial against Parramatta, 36-0. And that was with Sauce playing at halfback. And with Nathan Cleary out, I really thought Manly were going to get this game. So I was really surprised at how well Penrith played. They just humming along beautifully, mate. It's hard to go past them. I thought Cherry Evans was good for Manly. His 549 kick meters were pretty impressive. But no real standout performance from Manly. They'll beat Norlands up all over the park. Game was the first of the Friday night games, which was the Raiders versus Sharks. The Raiders 24, Whiten, Valamai, Nickel Klookster, Young tries, Schneider 4 from 4 goals. The Sharks, Brayley, Kennedy, Wilton tries, Hodge 3 from 3 goals. Matty Moylan a field goal. This one here, Jack Whiten became the third to play 200 games for the Raiders. Craig Fitzgibbon was forced to watch his match. His first match as Cronulla coach from after testing positive to COVID-19 during the week. And I don't know how much that disrupted the Sharks going into this, because their first half was abysmal. Their completion rate was shocking. The Raiders have now won 7 on the trot against the Sharks. The Raiders, Josh Papali'i and Semi Valamai were forced off for HIAs in the first half, but both passed and were able to return to the game. Canberra's forwards dominated the early exchanges and went on to rack up big numbers here with running for 137 metres, Joe Tarpane 146, and Hudson Young 124. Sharks fans would have loved what they saw from Nico Hines. He was involved in everything for the Sharks. It was a composed performance from him, with 3 tackle breaks, 1 try assist, and 274 kicking metres. But Jack Whiten looks like he's starting to come back to that form that he had in 2019, 2020. Was it 2020 when he won the Dally M?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah. So back to that form, that'll be great for the Raiders. And yeah, there's Nico Hines' stats. He was involved in everything in them. He's been a good acquisition for the Sharkies for 2022.
Absolutely. It was interesting because there were 2 teams playing in this game that were tipped to really improve this year, particularly Sharks. It was hard to sort of get a read after that result because it sort of both teams sort of played well in patches. But yeah, they're always entertaining for some reason, the Cronulla and Canberra games. For some reason, they always produce plenty of points. So yeah, we'll see we'll keep an eye on those teams, see how they go. Moving on to the second game on Friday night, and that was the Broncos versus Souths. The Broncos getting away to an 11-4 win at Suncorp Stadium. Broncos tries to Kelly and Oates. Asako 1 from 1, and Luke Capewell will just snap it. What about that? That's the best field goal since Mark Carroll slotted one, or I think Nathan Kalis kicked one for Parramatta as well a few years ago. So it's always great to see a front rower. Didn't our old mate Sambo Skipper try to slot one for us?
I was going to say it's a lot better than Sambo Skipper's attempt when he was at the Warriors. That's for sure. Yeah.
South's 4 points came from a Josh Mansour try. A case of deja vu for Cody Walker there, throwing an intercept pass. Albert Kelly showing a clean pair on the same ground where he's picked off by Stephen Crichton famously in the grand final last year.
Yep.
Tavita Totola placed on report for a dangerous tackle in the 18th minute, and Payne Haas just keeps motoring on. Picked up another mammoth performance for the Broncos. 2021 prop of the year, 19 runs for 164 metres, 4 tackle breaks, and the 4 offloads to go along with that. Blake Taaffe was a late withdrawal for South and an ankle injury forcing the backline reshuffle with Alex Johnson going fullback, and that brought the veteran Josh Mansour onto the wing there. After being outscored 81-6 by the Rabbitohs in 2021, though, the Broncos found their defensive muscle. They were really strong, dug deep, and withheld sustained pressure on their line, which is something they haven't done in a while. And they kept South to just 1 try. Jake Turpin led the way defensively, 52 tackles. Corey Oates needs just 1 more try to join the Broncos 100 club. That's a massive effort. Steve Renouf, my man Steve Renouf, tops the list on 142. Darren Lockyer, 122. Michael Hancock, 120. The Big Dell with 110. And Alfie Langer, who could score a try on an even 100.
Yeah.
Geez, the Rabbitohs, the thing that I noticed most is how much the Rabbitohs missed Adam Reynolds. And they missed him more than the Broncos did, ironically. They just looked completely disorganised. They were running into each other, running behind each other. And, yeah, they looked to really be struggling out there.
That's going to be the big decision from the Rabbitohs hierarchy that they're going to live to regret is he wanted a 2-year deal. They only wanted to offer him 1 year. He called their bluff and he walked, and he's picked up a 2 or 3 year deal at the Broncos. And now they've got, young guys like Blake Taaffe and young Ilias coming through, but they're not game managers like Adam Reynolds. And as you said, the Rabbitohs missed Adam Reynolds more than the Broncos. Interesting how no one was charged over the weekend apart from Jake Granville. NRL seems to be taking a lean-in approach, which I think is great after last year being overly pedantic. Suspending players for action. Yeah, true, but I would have. We'll get to this game a little bit very soon, but the Jaden Campbell hit on Sean Russell, leading with his knees and breaking ribs and puncturing lungs, is exactly the same as Dylan Brown on Drew Hutchison last year, and Dylan Brown copped 8 weeks for that, and Jaden Campbell doesn't get anything. So I think they've gone the complete other way. But in saying that, mate. Yeah, Jackie Hetherington still spent 10 minutes in the sin bin this week, so something's never changed. The first game on Saturday, the Knights 20 up against the Roosters 6. The Knights tries to Gagai, Twala, Clifford, Dominic Young. Clifford 2 from goals. The Roosters, their lone try to Paul Momorowski, their goal to Walker. Mate, upset of the round. No matter what way you look at it. The Roosters' only opportunity in the first half came in the 10th minute when Tupu burst through the middle and linked with Luke Keary. He sent James Tedesco racing for the try line, but the try was denied after the bunker rule that Dave Clemmer had been obstructed from attempting a call. Dane Gagai celebrated his return to the Knights with a try in the 14th minute. Victor Radley was forced from the field for a HIA midway through the first half. His head in the wrong position, attempting a front-on tackle on Clifford. Has he had a history of HIAs? Victor Radley, is that Keary I'm thinking of? Victor Radley's just had a history of suspensions.
I think it's just suspensions, more the suspensions with Victor. Yeah.
Kurt Mann forced another Rooster error-heavy shot on Jared Warrior-Hargraves. I think Kurt Mann moving into that 13 jersey is a stroke of brilliance by Adam O'Brien this year. I think he'll be really good for him around that midfield, that ruck area. It kind of reminds me, his gameplay reminds me of Dean Hallertau from the 05 Tigers, who was playing a lot of lock, almost acting like a second half at times. And they'll need Kurt Mann's experience this year, having Jaden Brayley now out for the season with that ACL injury picked up in pre-season. They've got Chris Randall at hooker. Sam Walker scored the Roosters' only first half points with a penalty goal. Clifford got his own try in the 56th minute. The Knights utility Phoenix Crossland was sin interfering with Sam Walker as he chased a kick into Newcastle's in goal. And Jamaican international saved a try when he forced wing opposite Daniel into touch, and then at the other end of the field in the 74th minute to seal the win for the victory. The Roosters centre Paul Momirovski scoring a consolation try in the 76th minute. It's amazing that the Knights are able to hold the Roosters without scoring a try for 76 minutes.
Absolutely. The Knights did benefit from a couple of tries against the run of play, or a couple of tries from mistakes, but take nothing away from them. They were awesome, and as you said, to hold the Roosters out for 74 minutes or 76 minutes, I should say, is not to be sneezed at. So well done to them. And it's good to see some shock results early in the season.
It is. Gagai returning was great. Joey Manu for the Roosters too, pretty solid in the centres there. Yeah,
as to be expected. So moving on, so we were the middle game on Saturday, and to round out Super Saturday, we had the Tigers versus the Storm.
Yep.
So we had a 26-16 victory. The Tigers, Kenny Mamalo getting a double. Good to see him still continue to get a few meat pies. And David Nofaluma with a try. Brooks kicking 2 from 5. And Storm 26 came from Jennings, Loero, Hughes, Coates, and Remus Smith with tries. And Meaney 2 from 5 attempts. Not a great night for the goal kickers. Storm hooker Brandon Smith reeled out of a tackle with teammates Christian Welsh and Josh King on Tyrone Peachy in just the second minute, and immediately came to the sideline holding his left hand. So that's definitely not good for him. Luke Brooks handled the ball twice in the Tigers' opening try. And as we said, Kiwi winger Kenny Mamalo crossed the 6th minute. Jennings hit back, and the joy for Jennings quickly turned into despair when unfortunately he collapsed to the ground untouched, and he has done his ACL, which is not good for Warrior 245.
No.
Yeah. Injury concerns as well for Luciano Leilua after a cannonball tackle from Trent Loero. Look, the Tigers looked good for the most part in this game. It's a little bit like our game, really. They were leading 14 points to 4, and then it was 16 all with not long to go, and then the class of Jerome Hughes and Pappenhausen, and that just got the Storm over the line. So there wasn't too much in this game. It's good to see these teams improving. And as Ruben has said, Kenny loves playing the Storm. He scored 5 tries for us against them last year.
No, he scored 6. He got two trebles.
That's right, he too. 6, wasn't it? Yeah.
And then the game against us, his last game tries at Central Coast. And then the very next week he was playing the Storm, and everyone was hoping that he'd a treble for the Tigers, because that was his first game for the Tigers. But no such luck.
In the key moments, I must say he could have had a third in this game as well, but some unreal goal line defence from Melbourne. A very, very much a Melbourne trait managed to stop him from getting a hat trick in this game as well. And it just came down to the class of the Melbourne Storm outfit, and they're just so well coached, so well drilled, and they're a very hard team to beat.
Yeah, Mark has mentioned Meaney gets dropped for not making all the goal kick. That's an interesting one, that, isn't it? He was their 5'8" and goal kicker. He's not even in the extended bench too. So
he's a hard taskmaster. Who
is going to question the great Craig Bellamy?
Well, that's it.
Yeah. The next game, which was the first game was the Eels hosting the Titans at Combank Stadium. There, the Eels 32. Russell 3 tries, Lane, Blake tries, Moses 6 from 8 goals. The Titans 28, Kelly 2, Sami 2, Clark tries, Sexton 4 from 5 goals. This reminded me of that first half reminded me of a Toyota Cup. It was just try for try. Yeah. Mate, I thought it was going to be something like 80 to 70 by the end of full time. Eels winger Sean Russell, he's got 5 tries to his name in just 3 career games, scoring a hat-trick by the 34th minute, but did have to leave the field, as we were saying. Copped a nasty knees in the wrist from Jaden Campbell when he was going in scoring that last try, which has cracked 3 ribs and punctured his lung. So he'll be out for a bit of time, which is a bit of a shame, really, for Sean Russell, because, he looked like with Mike Acevo out, he was going to have a bit of a run on that wing now, but not to be. In his first game as Titans captain, Big Tino Fasumawalawi led from the front with 11 runs, 86 metres, and a high work rate in defence. He had 34 tackles. Wonga Blake, he enjoys coming up against the Titans. He's scored 8 tries in 9 games against the Gold Coast now. The Titans completed 14 and 15 sets in the first, a lack of ball control in the second. Saw them finish the match with a 70% completion rate. Phil Sami revived memories of that famous try score by Canterbury Steve Guerin in the 1980 Grand Final when he chased a Will Smith bomb and lay over Bailey Simonson to catch the ball on the full and score. I did like that he when he did score one of his tries, he did the Gutherino over the top of Gutho.
Yeah, I saw
that. The second, all the Eels points came from penalty goals, which was interesting. They failed to crack the Titans' defence, and poor old Paddy Herbert. He's last year he got done. He's remembered for not passing the ball in that game, in that semi-final game. This time, mate, he couldn't do this again, even if he tried. A dropout that hit the corner post full. I don't think he'd be able to do that if he tried.
Oh, that's great. Ridiculous.
Christian says, Titans attack will be what we need to watch out for this Saturday. Yeah, true. Considering that's who we're playing, we'll definitely have to watch their attack. Isaiah Papali'i was of the Eels forwards, I thought, 193 run meters, 86 contact, and Mo Fotuaika at front for the leading the way for the Titans as well. I think he's the unsung in that pack. I think they kind of always talk about Big Tino and Fafita, Jared Wallace when he's playing, but I think Mo is that one player that goes a little unnoticed. And he's an Origin front rower.
He is, yeah. He's played a handful of Origin games for Queensland now.
Yeah. And you can review the last game of the round, mate.
Yes, mate. Yeah. Just looking at it, looked like a bit of a one that you'd probably skip, especially you guys over in NZ with the late kickoff there. Cowboys versus Bulldogs, 6-4 victory to the new look Bulldogs over the Cowboys. The Cowboys' 4 points came from Gilbert with a try. Holmes missed his only shot. And for the Bulldogs, your mate Jaden Ockenbaugh getting over in the corner, and Burton with a sensational sideline conversion, which was the difference. It may not have been pretty, and it certainly wasn't, but the Bulldogs have kicked off a new era with a gritty 6-4 win over the Cowboys in Townsville. And it's back to the Dogs of War style, isn't it? The scrappy, gritty, grinding kind of victory. As we said, the new look Bulldogs, Burton, Addo Carr, Dufty, Naden, Braden Burns, Matt King, Paul Vaughan, all on debut. And the Bulldogs overcame the loss of 4 players to head knocks to score what is a morale-boosting win, a much-needed win for under fire coach Trent Barrett as well. The home side, yeah.
The thing for me in this one, mate, was when Wild and Jack Etherington got sent to the bin, and the Cowboys couldn't, and they had a mountain of possession in that 10-minute period, and they just couldn't get over the line. And then, the Bulldogs losing their whole bench at 9th man. It was a gritty performance by the Dogs, and for me, it just probably kind of accentuated that the Cowboys are going to be hard. They're going to be finding it hard to avoid the wooden spoon this year.
Yeah, they had every opportunity to win, and they almost did come up with a win with the Little Hammer getting over. And I actually had to go and get the kids ready for bed at this point in time, and I looked on my phone, and the score had changed to 8 points to 6 to the Cowboys. And I was like, oh, here we go. The Hammer's done it again, got them a win, but obviously that try was overturned.
Yes,
for the video referee. So yeah, with the Bulldogs hanging on for a 6 points to 4 win, and it's probably exactly what they needed to kickstart this new era.
Absolutely, I thought Matt Duff great for him in his first game in class. Thought he was very, very good, and for the Cowboys, I thought Hiku was really good for them. Continued to be that centre that continually sets up his old man. He did it a couple of times in this game. So good to see Pet. 10 tackle breaks as well in that game. Had a good game in attack, but they just couldn't get over the line, the Cowboys, unfortunately. Let's look at the ladder, mate. So after one round, Panthers sitting on top. Bulldogs round out the 8. And the important one for us is the Warriors sitting on 14th on for and against with that minus 12 differential. So hopefully a big win this week against the Titans can turn that negative into a positive differential. Hopefully we can get that done in the set-off we're going to be. Really looking forward to that. It's time for 2 new weekly segments that we're going to do for this season. We've done away with 6, or the set of rants that everyone went on about last year. It kind of just took a little bit too long to get through. So this year what we're going to do is we're going to have 2 new segments. We're going to have Roo's Rant, which Warrior Roo there is going to rant about one thing that has got under his skin in the past week, and I'm going to hit you up with the hot topic. So about one thing that I want to talk about, mate. We'll let you kick it off. Roo's Rant. What have you got for us this week, mate, as your rant?
All right, I did something very silly this week, and I went on social media and started reading some of the comments. I should know better than that. We talked about this quite a few times last year. It's the WDWLHG, which stands for Why Did We Let Him Go? Okay, so obviously the Panthers played the first game of the season. Sean O'Sullivan was a Warrior last year and had a very good game for the Panthers last night. You should have seen the uproar, the outcry. Why did we let this guy go? This guy goes to the Panthers and plays a much better game. This, that, and the other thing, like silly Warriors management. The usual kind of stuff that you read. That's fine, but the Warriors hadn't even played yet this week. That was the thing for me. The Warriors played on the Saturday, and without even watching us play, we're lamenting a player that has left. We have 4 halves on our books this year, but evidently most people still want Sean O'Sullivan there. The usual talk, it's the usual stuff. Like the Warriors, they play better once they leave the Warriors, which is a bit of a myth because, as we've said, it's not as many players as you think leave the Warriors to go on to be absolute superstars. We've covered this a number of times. But I think that some of our fans must be very miserable if they constantly lament the loss of a single player every single time.
Yeah, last year it was Isaiah Papali'i that they lamented. It's interesting, isn't it, in regards to Sean O'Sullivan, because we didn't let him go. We offered him a contract. He chose to leave. So,
and as Ruben is saying, the same people were probably bagging him last year. Going, who's this guy? Yeah. He goes and plays one good game for Penrith. He don't get me wrong. I love Sean O'Sullivan. He's a great guy. We're lucky enough to meet him a couple of times last year. Awesome fella, and he did play some good games for us. But it's like just wanting what you don't have, isn't it? It's like, hang on, that guy used to play for the Warriors. He played one good game. Why did we let him go?
Absolutely. Mate, unfortunately, it's something that's going to continue to happen. What you need to do is you need to get off those social media pages.
I know. And guys, it's a 30-man squad that we have, not a 300-man squad, as we say.
Absolutely.
We can't keep them all. And we do have 4 halves in our books already. So anyway, into the bin.
and also have a salary cap that we got to keep too. So, these guys aren't going to hang around and play for free.
That's it.
Yeah. Mate, my Hammer's hot topic for this is kind of a similar thing in regards to the fans, but on a different aspect. So we heard today the New Zealand government announced that the borders will be opened. The New Zealand borders will be open to vaccinated Australians, and Warriors CEO Cameron George has come out and said that that's not going to change the Warriors situation this year. They will remain basing themselves in Redcliffe for the 2022 season because they've already got plans in place. Partners and spouses are working, kids are in schools, they've locked into rental leases and so forth. So things can't just change because the New Zealand government has changed one thing, so let's get that right from the start. It is almost certain now, though, that those 4 scheduled games at home at Mount Smart will go ahead, which is fantastic. The first one being the return bout of the Mike Doreen Cup, round 16, I think it is, on July 3rd. So the things that I want to talk about, though, is the Aussie-based fans who have been extremely lucky to have the team based here in Australia for the past 3 seasons, but there are still fans who lament at the end of each season saying that they wish they'd seen more games or had more opportunities to meet players. Your opportunities now. Queensland-based fans, you've got 7 games in Queensland left this season, 8 if you count the end-of-season game against...
Townsville.
9, sorry. Rabbits at Sunshine Coast. They're taking that to Sunshine Coast. And, yeah, we've got the Townsville game. 6 at our home base at Redcliffe, and, of course, the Magic Round game as well. It's time to get out there and show your support. Next season, we will be very lucky to have a handful of games in Australia if we get any at all. A lot of clubs have verbally agreed to taking their home games against the Warriors to New Zealand next year. Not necessarily to Mount Smart, to other areas of New Zealand, Wellington, around the country, maybe into Hamilton, places like that. Look, as Roo Hammer, we've made the commitment to go to all the Queensland-based games this year. Now, before anyone says anything, people think that we get a lot of stuff for free from the Warriors. We get absolutely nothing for free from the Warriors. We don't get any merchandise for free. Yes, I got a jersey signed last year. I paid for the jersey. I sent it to them. They signed it. They sent it back. We buy all our tickets to the games. We're all our own flights and accommodations when we go to these games. So I just want people to know that off the bat. But our opportunity now to go and support the boys as much as we can whilst they're here. I'm tired of hearing people lament how they wish they could have gone to a game or, oh, gee, I wish I had more opportunity to meet the players. Well, you do. Go to the games. That's how you'll meet the players. That's the first step. Go to the games, support the boys, wear your club colours. If you hang around afterwards, the boys are always happy to sign some autographs, have a bit of a chat. I don't want to hear people complaining that, I should have gone to the game or I wish I had gone to that game. Get out there, support the boys. That's, as Warriors fans here in Australia, that's what we should be doing. And that's
it. Exactly. Well said, mate. And this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. And God willing, it never happens again, because that means there'll be another outbreak of a virus or something like that. So our time is now, as you said. We've got to get out there and support the boys. We got the team, luckily here in Southeast Queensland, we've got the team in our own backyard. And, that's what we're all about, getting out there, supporting the boys, show them that they have plenty of home support away from home, if you like. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. Make the most of it while it's here.
Yep, absolutely. Mate, let's move on to round two. Round two. What am I doing here? Sorry, turn my camera back on.
You've disappeared.
I'm coming back, mate. I'm coming back. Wait on.
Round 2 preview for our game against the Titans at Cbus Super Stadium. Cbus Super Stadium. Yeah, at Robina on the Gold Coast. The team lines up as follows. Reece Walsh, Adam Pompey comes in on the wing, Jesse Arthurs and Rocco Berry in the centres, Marcello Montoya on the other wing, Chanel Harris-Tavita and Ash Taylor in the halves, Adam Fanua-Blake is captain, and partnering in the front row is returning Matt Lodge, Wade Egan at hooker, and Ewan Aitken, Elisi Katoa, and Josh Curran in the back row. On the interchange bench, Jazz Tavanga, Bunty Afoa, Aaron Penne, Bailey Sirinen, and the extended bench is Cody Nikarima, Ben Murdoch-Masilla, Jack Murchie, Pride Pedersen, Robati, Taniela Otokolo, and Junior Rotuva, and Ed Cozy. Okay, obviously...
Mate, have you got that?
Yeah, I was
just throw up on the screen there.
Yeah,
so I can have a look at it.
Absolutely. Here we go.
There we go.
And
Reece Walsh and Matt Lodge both returned from Sassin. They slot straight into the run-on team at fullback front row as expected. couple of force changes there in the backs, mate. Dardy and Villy Vallejo both ruled out with injury. Adam Pompey and Jesse Arthurs. What do you make of their selections into this round?
I applaud the selection of Adam Pompey on the wing. He played outstanding in 2020 on the wing. I think wing is more his go. He's a big body. He's fairly good in the air, and he doesn't have to worry about passing. So I think that's a good move, especially with a couple of big wingers there for the Titans as well.
Yep.
Jesse Arthurs, he was signed for depth, and we've needed to call on it in round 2. So it'd be interesting to see how he goes. He spent a bit of time. He debuted at the Titans, spent a bit of time at the Broncos as well. So hopefully he has a strong game against his former club, and he will become Warrior 267.
Will when he pulls the jersey on this week. Ruben says jury's out on Arthurs. Yeah, I had similar feelings. How I feel about Arthurs is how I feel about Montoya last year when he signed, and he ended up in Clubman of the Year last year. He was out for us, so I'm hoping Jesse Arthurs can find some form and reignite his career at the Warrior. We've only got him on loan, but who knows if he has a good year and he ends up being a really good acquisition for us this season, then maybe there could be something for him at the Warriors moving fast this season. But yeah, both Adam and Jesse opportunity now to lock down those positions long term. Interesting to see Junior Ratuva named on that extension with Ed Cozy as well. A lot of people thinking that Junior might get his opportunity. Adam Pompey brings, as you said, a big body, and these two wingers at the Titans are big-bodied wingers in Phil Sami and Greg Marziu. So I'm not surprised that Adam Pompey gets first shot this week against them. A like-for-like kind of winger, have him up against one of those big boys. We'll see how it goes. Sean Johnson out with that pec injury and will miss up to a month. This is exactly what Warriors fans were worried about with his signing. And it's going to be interesting to see how many games we will see him play this year. New halves pairing this week in Ash Taylor and Chanel, Harris Tavita. Mate, I'll you give me your thoughts on this before I chime in with what I think. What do you think of this halves pairing and Cody being named in the 8 jersey, more importantly?
Yeah, look, I like it. Ash Taylor, he's an experienced player. We know what he can do. And what an opportunity to make his debut for the Warriors against his old team that didn't want him last year. So hopefully, he has a massive game. And, CHT has had plenty of experience as well. He's been in the first grade setup for about 3 or 4 years now. And he brings, a bit more stability in that as well. Look, yeah. It's really unknown. It's a really unknown sort of commodity, this halves pairing, and who's going to really sort of take control and run the show out of the two.
Yep.
What are your thoughts?
Mate, let's say that. Let's wait. Last year, really not opposed to the tough love shown by Brownie. I know there's some people that have been critical going, he's just chopping and changing again. Well, we need results on the field. And if he's not going to perform when he's given the opportunity, our depth is strong enough to warrant that the changes be made. Now, I can go back to, 6 years ago when Solomon Akata, and everyone was whinging about Solomon Akata and he couldn't pass and he went to the centre and blah, blah, blah. And Mooks kept him in the team for so long and everyone got the shits. Well, now we've got a coach who's getting the changes. He's obviously got a game plan in place that he says to these guys, this is what I want you to do, some KPIs that they have. Cody obviously didn't hit his KPI in that game, and he's been dropping. And I have no issue with that when we've got a guy like Taylor and a guy like Sharista waiting innings. I watched that game on the weekend, and there was, and I've harped on it a couple of times about Montoya's defence on the wing, but there was one where, rather lead winger, and he bumped Montoya off and he went flying over the sideline, and Cody had an opportunity to tackle him, and it was almost like Cody brushed him on the back as he ran past and made
a bit of a massage.
Yeah, and it's it's not what we need from our players. We need guys that are going to step up, do those little 1%ers, and if you're not doing the 1%ers,
on the line. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, mate, I'm not opposed to it. I wish Ash Taylor all the luck in the world. I hope he has, hits the ball by both horns. Playing against his old club, he's obviously got something to prove.
Plenty of motivation. He shouldn't be struggling for that.
Plenty of motivation.
Yeah.
His kicking game should be on song. He should know every blade of grass on that field when it's out there on Saturday afternoon. But the rest of it, mate, the rest of the team, no real surprise selections. As Lodge comes into the side, so drops back onto the bench. Probably the only one that is a surprise is I probably would have kept Ben Murdoch-Masila on the bench, not had Bailey Sirinen. Nothing against Bailey, but I didn't know Bailey playing on the weekend. It wasn't until I went back and looked at stats that I saw that he made 21 tackles, but he didn't have a run of the ball, didn't have a carry. So yeah, it's confusing as to what Bailey's makeup is in this team because he's not a big forward. Yeah. He's an edge back rower, but then Aaron Penne plays edge back. Jazz can play as an edge back rower. So yeah, I'm not real sure what Bailey's role is in this 17. And I think we would have been better served having another forward. But then you watch, mate. We'll have a injury back in Bailey soon, and we'll cover that on the weekend. And I'll have it on my face. And we'll see how things go. To make his mark against his old club, and I'm really looking forward to that. Looks like old Robbie's dropped off the broadcast there, so I'll just keep on keeping on here, and we'll go into our round 2 preview. And the first game that we're going to look at is Warriors win 30-14. You reckon? Well, an interesting one. Looking forward to CHT Walsh combo. Those two seem to click. I agree. BMM should be in. Aiken can cover injury to backs. Yeah, that's I forgot about Ewan Aiken in that back row position there. He definitely can. And I'm looking at the CHT Walsh combo as well. One thing CHT brings into this team is defence. We all know he's a great defender. He can tackle. It's going to be see him get his opportunity in that 6 jersey. Round 2 preview. The first game Thursday night, the Storm versus the Rabbit. For the Storm, Dean Eremaya comes in for the injured George Jennings. Cameron Munster returns from suspension. Jesse Bromwich returns and replaces Christian Welsh, who's out for the season. Harry Grant returns from his suspension straight into that hooker role for the injured Brandon Smith. Latrell Mitchell returns from suspension for the Rabbits. Alex Johnson back to the wing. Josh Mansour is the man that misses out. For me, Souths have a really hard run the opening couple of rounds, and they really needed that win against the Broncos to get their season kicked off. I think the Storm are just going to be way too good. Cameron Munster coming back in. That spine of Ryan Pappenhausen, Munster, Hughes, and Harry Grant, I think, are just going to go to town on the Rabbitohs, and I actually predict that the Storm will get up by 13 plus. The next game, the first game on the Friday night, is the Dragons versus the Panthers. For the Dragons, fresh off their win against the Warriors, Aaron Woods is out injured. His place has been taken by Francis Molo coming on into the lineup, which brings George Burgess onto the bench. Panthers, Moses Leota out injured. Spencer Leniu starts in the starting lineup. Matt Eisenhuth for the bench. Look, what can you say after that performance that the Panthers put against Manly last week? I can't see anything but a 13-plus victory for the Panthers. I think the Dragons are going to be brought back down to earth with a crashing thud, and I expect the Panthers to win by a very big margin. Tough game for South. I have a difficult draw. I will say Storm by 14 with Harry Grant and Cam Munster to start. Yep. I reckon it'll be more than 14, but yeah. Penrith by heaps. Absolutely. The second game on the night is the Roosters versus the Seagulls. Shane Bonham, do you think Mun's a good player? He's had one good game and been said he's a superstar. What games, boys? Yeah, I think Munster's. I might get into a bit of shit. I think Munster's a lot like Cooper Cronk in regard to Cooper Cronk was. Hey, Rob, welcome back, mate. Cooper Cronk was. That's all right, mate. Cooper Cronk was one of those players who was surrounded by superstars and benefited from it. And I think Munster's kind of the same. So, yeah, interesting thought there from Shane. How are brother too? Where are you? Are you back in Adelaide at the moment, doing the fly-in, fly-out? The next game we're going into, Rob, is the Roosters Seagulls game. If you want to take it from there, mate.
Yeah, I have lost my notes, but
and you lost your microphone.
You can't hear me?
Very faint.
Okay. Yeah, sorry guys, I've had to jump onto my secondary laptop here.
Oh, what happened to your laptop?
It just died, I'm afraid, so it just completely shut down. So it might be the end of my laptop.
Lucky you got a...
Yeah, so I got it back up here. How's that audio coming through?
It's very faint, very faint.
Is that any better?
It's getting better. Keep going. Can you turn it up better?
That's up to full. How's that?
That'll have to do. Just talk really loudly.
I will try my very best.
Okay.
I'm just regathering my notes.
All right, I'll keep pushing on, mate. You give me a thumbs up when you're ready. So the Roosters Seagulls game is the second game on Friday. No changes to either side, except fact that Dylan Walker comes onto the interchange bench for the Seagulls, and young what's the young fella's name? The centre, Kolatu or something. I always respect your chat. Please watch Munster and tell me if I'm wrong in a few weeks. I'll tell you, bro. Don't you worry. For me, I think the both teams will be stinging from the losses that they had last week. I really think that Tom Trbojevic, James Tedesco, head-to-head battle is going to be a good one. I think it'll be a close game. I'm actually tipping the Seagulls to win this one 1-12. The next game is the first game on Saturday at Seabus Super Stadium. Get the Sharks off the screen. There we go. Titans Warriors. Greg Marzu has named for the AJ Brimson named in the halves after missing round one, which forces the Fresh Prince Will Smith back to the bench. For the Warriors, Walsh and Lodge back from pension. Pompey and Arthur's in for DWZ Valea. CHT Nash Taylor in the halves for the injured SJ. Cody dropped. Look, we've just gone through the Warriors stuff. We're going to have to be better with our edge defense. 100% this week. Forward to the battle of Fafita up against Katoa, up against Josh Curran. Front row, Fanua Blake and Matt Lodge. I think we get the points against Fotuaki and Liu. And I look at our bench. Our bench of Tavanga, Afoa, Pene, and Sirinen is a much better, much more mobile, more energy-filled and impactful bench than Will Smith, Sam Lazzoni, Jamin Jolliffe. I'm picking the Warriors. I always do. I pick them 1-12 because I can't pick us for a 13+ ever. It's just not in me. Yeah. Christian says Warriors by. I think you're about right there, mate. Is Reece Walsh making a move next year, or is he staying since? Okay, so we do have our sources within the club. One thing I can say in regards to Walsh is the talk is that in the media is that Reece Walsh wants to leave the Warriors. He does want to go to New Zealand, and he's unsettled. He wants to be with his family. Well, how can he be unsettled when he's been living in for all his life? He's up in Redcliffe, where the Warriors. Part of the reason that Reece Walsh signed with the Warriors is to get in touch with his Māori heritage. He wants to invite that part of his family. He's looking forward to going back to going to New Zealand and living in New Zealand. So any talk of Reece Walsh not being in a Warriors jersey in 2023 is absolute garbage. Reece Walsh will be with the Warriors next year. And that's all on that. I won't say any more. How are you going there, Rob?
I'm getting there. Sorry, I'm just trying to think on my feet here.
Okay, I'll keep pushing on, mate. The next game is the Sharks versus the Eels. The Sharks, no real changes to the side beaten by the Raiders last week. McInnes, although it doesn't show up there on the interchange, he has been named on the bench and will face a fitness test, and if he passes, will play. So expect Cam McInnes to come into that side. Assume it'd probably be Andrew Fafita or Royce Hunter to drop off that bench. For the Eels, Wonga moves to the wing to replace the injured Sean Russell, with Tom Opachik named in the centres. I expect those two will probably chop and change during the game. Ryan Madison out, and I'm not sure if that's an injury out or a suspension out. And Oregon Kafusi has been named at lock, with Nathan Brown returning on the bench. This is going to be one of those good games. The Sharkies playing at home. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this game played at their new PointsBet Stadium? And if it is their first game at PointsBet Stadium, I think. Where are they playing? Yeah, PointsBet Stadium. So I expect a big crowd. Sharkies here. Jack O'Hara says Sharkies in 6 by set. Well, I've picked the Eels 1-12. Wouldn't be surprising if it's the Sharks 1-12. It's that kind of game. The Eels will need to do a lot more in their second half than rely on Mitch Moses' penalty goals. I like the Nico Hines at halfback for the Sharks. He's a searching back. He's a footy playing halfback. Like Hammer, don't like Roo out, Richie in. Dave Stevens. I'm saying that's your mate, is it, Rob?
Dave Stevens. No, I'm not sure who Dave Stevens is.
Oh, okay.
Not a fan. Okay.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, mate, we'll move to the next game if you want to take it from there, which is the Cowboys-Raiders.
Yeah, no changes for the Cowboys. And the Raiders, Matt Frawley named at half for Brad Schneider, who has COVID. Tom Starling named at hooker for the injured Josh Hodgson as well. So I'm expecting the Raiders to continue on and have a big win here, 13+.
Yeah, I expect the same, mate. I've got no the Cowboys give me no confidence. If they couldn't get the job done against a side that, played with 12 men for 10 minutes and then had no reserves for 40 minutes, I don't know how they're going to overcome a Raiders side that boasts a pack of Pali'i, Tapane, Young, Harawira Naira, and Elliot Whitehead, and Adam Elliott coming off the bench, who I thought really good for the Raiders last week in his first game. So yeah, that I agree with you. Sunday, mate, we've got the Knights versus the Tigers. Yeah, this will be an interesting one. This will see whether the Knights are the real deal or whether last week was a Shane Bonham. Hey, the Bulldogs were good. I said they were good. I said they were good, Bonzo. They overcame all the obstacles to get the win. They're in the 8. That's all that matters. Stop the comp now. Take a photo of that and share it. Knights versus, yeah, this is a game where the Knights can actually show whether they're the real deal or whether last week was just an absolute fluke. No changes to either side. I have tipped the Knights to win 1-12. I do like the look of the Tigers back on Kelma Tuolangi and Shialani Leilua. Leilua's still under an injury cloud too, so he may not play. And final game of the round, mate, is the Bulldogs-Broncos. What's happening there?
Yeah, mate, Bulldogs. Pangai Jr. returns from injury, the only change for them. And the Broncos, Tessie New named at fullback. Adam Reynolds named to make his club debut after missing the first round. And Kobe Hetherington named on the bench. Yeah, I think this one will be a close game. Broncos, I think, in a close one here, 1-12.
I've got the Broncos winning 13+. Sorry, yeah, I just think Adam Reynolds coming into this Broncos side. I think that you're going to see that they're to have a lot more direction. They're going to be a lot more composed. The one thing that they're going to have is their kicking game. They're going to have a really good kicking game. So guys like Adokar, Ockenbaugh, and they have to be on their game. Yeah, they do, Ruben, don't they? The Broncos look very good on paper. You look at that, Selwyn Cobbo, Katoni Staggs, Payne Haas, Kurt Capewell. They've got some... I hate you, Mark Carter. No, you don't, Bono. You love me, mate. You love my honesty. If anything, I'm honest, mate. You know that. Yeah, I just think that the Broncos will be way too strong for the Bulldogs. Sorry, Bono. But that's just... Mate, I got 3 from 8 last week, so what do I know about footy? My tipping was abysmal.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get some audio sorted. Just bear with me.
You're all right, mate. I'll move on. I'll keep going on. Don't forget, our live show's coming up. Every Tuesday, we do an NRL break. We did last night, round 3 NRL breakdowns, now available on YouTube, Facebook, and Spotify. And then every Wednesday, we do our round review. This week, we'll have our NRL breakdown of round 4. And then on next Wednesday, we'll have the round review, the Warriors round review of round 2, and our preview of round 3. And of course, with those connections with the former players and the current players to bring you more of those interviews you all enjoy, which will be starting up again on a Tuesday. And keeping an eye out on our events pages for any on our events pages for any upcoming fan pre-game meetups. This week is a Warrior Nation fan meetup. They've organised a fan meetup at the Sporting Globe at Robina, kicking off from 12 p.m. And although we will be at the game at Seabus this weekend, we won't be able to attend the fan meetup this weekend. We do have some prior commitments with the the Titans NRLW side kicking off at 11:50 local time there on Saturday, and with our connections with the Titans, we will be heading to that game to support them. So we won't be at that fan event, but to catching up with all the fans at the game. Make sure, if you see us there, come over, say hello. We don't bite unless you ask us to. And then we've also got a fan event that's locked in for Magic Round, which we keep plugging. A meetup at the Lord Alfred Hotel at 12 p.m. on Saturday, the 14th of May. Special guest Warrior 76, Mark Tukey, Warrior 86, Kevin Campion, and Warrior 27, Grant Ravelli. Thanks at Warrior 121, fresh from his Sunshine Coast Stadium Roo Hammer debut, Steve Price will be joining us for that one too. Speaking of Steve Price, mate.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? Yeah, perfect. We have some very exciting news. So we have our merchandise pre-sale, as you can see on screen there. Very excited to announce the release of our first merchandise item. And this is the first of what we're calling our half-tone heroes. There proudly. This is a shirt honouring the greats of our club with a half-toned image, player image on the front of the shirt, which gives it a nice retro look. And a half-toned image is like a photo that's been converted into a series of dots to give it that kind of retro look. So that's what the half-tone image is. And we've got the Warrior, the player's name and the Warrior number on the back of the shirt, complete with white tone Roo Hammer image. And to honour one of our greatest Warriors players and captains, we are releasing the Steve Price half-tone hero shirt. And these shirts will be available for purchase during a very limited pre-sale window from 12 midnight on Thursday, 12 o'clock a.m. Thursday, 17th of March, all the way through until 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, the 20th of March. So the price for these shirts, where they will be selling for our Australian viewers, $29.95 plus $10 postage. And the purchase instructions are all there in the Facebook event that we've created. So head over there and you can find out how you can pre-order one of these shirts. And for our Kiwi friends over across the ditch, so $29.95 plus $20 postage to New Zealand. That's in Australian dollars. And again, you can purchase that through the instructions on the Facebook event. So please make sure that you comment in the comment section of the number of items that you require and the size. And once it's been confirmed, we will place the order with Torius, our printer, and we will contact you to get your delivery details. And the pre-sale finishes at 11:59 p.m. Sunday, 20th of March, and no orders will be taken after this time.
That's exactly right, mate. And also, too, just be aware that payment has to be made as per the instructions in the Facebook event when you're ordering the shirts. If there is no payment, so if you do order like a shirt and give us a size, but you make no payment, then the shirt will not be ordered for you because, it's a pre-sale order. So jump along to the Facebook event. You can find that on our Facebook page. If you jump onto our Instagram to our Facebook page where you can find that event. Get yourself one of these beautiful halftone hero shirts. As you can see, there's a picture of Pricey there at Sunshine Coast Stadium, proudly wearing it with myself and Bob next to him, showing the rear of that shirt. Good quality, couple made up so we could check the print and merchandise quality. We're quite this is the first of a range of merchandise items we hope to come out with during the year. But as we said, very limited time to be able to buy this. Jump on as of midnight tonight. That midnight Thursday is tonight. So I think the event starts 12:01 in the morning, and you can get on and speaking of merchandise and all things like that, we're just a reminder, we're on Patreon. As you can see, we're starting to get the merchandise happen. So pretty soon we'll have our Patreon subscription tiers up and running where you can get some merchandise through that as well. Exclusive Patreon only merchandise on the Patreon program. But for the moment, we still have our bronze tier running, which is just basically $3 a month, which enables you guys just to show your support of the content that we produce. As we said, we'll be releasing our Patreon tiers very, very soon once merchandise is squared away. And we just want to thank our Patreon tier patrons at the moment that we have Daniel Delore, Peregrine Falconer, Kurzweil, Fabian Moroa, Stevie Williams, Christian Catley, Alf Tuolave, TK Harris, Tay, Lisa Marie Bateman, Ken Wills, Nigel Phillips, Kane Fraser, Jermaine Downs, and Malcolm Earnshaw. Thank you guys very, very much, or guys and girls very, very much. We appreciate the support you show us. It doesn't go unnoticed.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Yeah, I'd just like to echo those thoughts as well. We can't do it without your support. Don't forget, if you do miss any of the live shows, you can catch up on our Facebook page by going to our video section, and you can go to our YouTube channel as well to catch up there. The easiest way to find our videos is to head to our link tree. The link is there on the screen for you, and you can catch up on anything that we've done, any live interviews, reviews, preview shows, everything is there. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel so you never miss any of our streamed content. It doesn't cost a thing,
That's right, it doesn't. And if you're a podcast fan, you can catch all our podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, Breaker, Radio Direct, iHeartRadio. Make sure you subscribe to us there. Miss any of our episodes. They're up there ready to listen to first thing Thursday morning. And just please head to our Roo and Hammer Instagram page where we upload content daily to keep all our followers informed of our upcoming events. And make sure, as Rob said, head to our YouTube channel because there's going to be some YouTube-only exclusive content that we put up there. We're trying to grow the YouTube channel a bit now. We're a little bit behind in getting that started up. And, we've got, 2,500 followers on Facebook and Instagram, but only have a couple of hundred on YouTube. So we want to kind of boost that one up. And so head along to that as well. That's it, mate, for this week's show, the 9th show of the year.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for everyone for joining us. Apologies for the technical issues. I'll get my laptop sorted next week.
You make sure you do. I'm off now, guys, and go the Warriors. Thanks, Braden Kendall. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Thanks for joining in the conversation. Really good to to have you guys, get your thoughts and opinions across and interact with us. That's pretty much why we do this show. A Warriors fan show done by two fans for the fans. And we thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks, TK. Get to bed, brother. Be what is it? 10. It'd be midnight over there now. Get to bed, TK. We absolutely appreciate the support. If you're going to the game on Saturday, make sure you come and say hello to us. We're up there at Seabus Stadium this Saturday to support the Warriors. And if you can't get to the game, make sure you tune in next week as we break down everything. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Mate, you go and get your laptop fixed. And we'll catch you all next week. Cheers, guys. Go the Warriors.
Go the Warriors. Cheers.